We're going to do this Chanel perfume shot, and you can see the Chanel bottle is laying on a bed of flowers, and if you look carefully you'll see that there's a lovely glow coming through the bottle. When I originally did the concept for this shot, I mocked it up out of a bit of foam board and glued it on some black card, and I cut out the shape of the image of the bottle. If we look at the Chanel bottle, you can see it's not actually the same shape as that. You can see there's a big difference, all right? Because we don't want the same shape, because we're going to be viewing it like that. So I made up a dummy one of these when I tested it, and I did on foam board, and I made loads of holes in it with a screwdriver to put the flowers into, so I can secure all the flowers and then balance the bottle. But I had to put something here to stop the bottle. I had to put a piece of glass to stop the bottle falling through and smashing on the floor. So since this mock-up one, I've improved it, and I've had my sign company make me one with lots more holes, giving me a lot more control, but also with a solid surface here, so that this has actually got a piece of plastic here. I'm using 2 low C-stands with grip arms and the poles. I'm then going to balance my piece of plastic on here. Right, let me just explain what's at the top here, and then we'll take a few questions. So this is also diffusion material, the stuff off the roll, but here I've just gaffer taped it onto a frame, and then I can illuminate from above, and I can create a broad light down onto my subject. I'm using this because I just want to create a broad light filling in a little bit on the flowers. I could use a softbox for this, to be honest, because it's just the tiniest amount of fill light. But in case I get any sort of reflection on the bottle, this will give me more of a gradient light. So I might be able to work with that, whereas a softbox, remember, just gives a broad flat light and then it goes dark. The thing I want to show you is, how do we make this cutout shape? How do we define exactly the shape that I need for my bottle? I'm just going to put the white paper there. I'm going to put that on the white paper. So, for example, if I decided that I wanted to get that view there as the perfect angle and view onto that Chanel bottle, then how can I find out what is the optimum cutout size that will allow me to get light all around? Because if I just draw around the bottle, I will only have a hole as big as the bottle. But the problem is, from the camera angle, we'd be seeing refraction and issues where light wouldn't be getting into the sides of the bottle from that perspective. So ideally, I need the hole to be as big as what is hidden from view by the bottle. And that means that hole would be a lot wider than the bottle is. It would be out here somewhere. So how can I determine the size of that hole? Well, if we use physics and we think about it, we can determine it by using light. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my iPhone. We know that if this is the position fixed of the camera, and that is the position of the product, then the line of sight, if you like, would be the same if we use a torch. So we want a point light source, and this is where an iPhone torch is particularly good. Can you see that shadow there, Tim, with your camera? Come and have a look. So that shadow shape there is what the camera can't see. Anything inside that viewpoint. So if I put this point light source right in the middle of the lens, that's shining and creating that shadow on the floor, my camera can't see anything inside that shadow. My torch beam is straight in the middle of the lens, and that is casting that shadow that we can see. Go back to the Chanel bottle. So the shadow that you can see is coming directly from that torch beam in front of my lens. Now, if Clarice draws around that line of that shadow, and she follows it as precisely as she can. So now we have a cutout shape that is completely different to the shape of the bottle. But from the camera's perspective, that cutout shape would be invisible because this torch beam was throwing the light at exactly the same projection as the lens is seeing. Once you've done that, you can then create the perfect shape to get the maximum amount of light through that allows light not just to come up from the underneath of the bottle, but allows it to get through the back sides of the bottle as well. Okay, we are going to put our first light in, which is a light overhead as a fill light down onto this area. So I'm able to bring a point light source like this down over the top, above my scrim, using a giraffe boom. So at the moment I'm at F14. I'm going to go to F16 now. And I'm going to start. Now this is one thing that I should point out. It came up earlier about the aperture that you want to work at. You should decide the aperture you want to work at based on depth of field, sharpness requirements, all that sort of thing, and then adjust your lights to suit, not the other way round. And that's the only light we've got on, isn't it? Just that one. Yep. I'm going to take a test shot, and we're just going to see what we get, just to check that we've got. Okay, so it's way too dark. We can't see anything at F16. Crank it right up to 5.3, please. Okay. Yep. Right, so we've put the power up 3 stops. We can start to see the bottle now. Go up another 2 stops, please. Okay, we should start to see the shot a little bit more clearly now. There we go. So now, the great thing there is you can see that you cannot see the hole that I created. So even though the hole is bigger than the Chanel bottle, it's invisible from camera perspective. All right, so what we've got to do now is cut loads of flowers up. Okay, I think we're in the ballpark to start this shot. So what we're going to do is just take a test shot now that we've got the flowers in position. And let's fire that off and see what we get. So there's the previous shot. Okay, now you can see it there. So there it's all populated with the flowers quite nicely, but the lighting is awful. This is not the lighting that I want on this shot because I want to illuminate underneath the Chanel bottle to make it glow, and I want a really mysterious lighting on the flowers. Right, now what I'm doing here, I've got this little light. This is a Pico light again, but this time I've got a very small, well, soft box, but it's actually a rigid box called a Pico box. Perfectly homogeneous flat light source, even light source, perfect for getting an even light source under here. Now, if you don't have one of these, then you could use a softbox under there, and you could even put a piece of acrylic on top of your softbox to diffuse that light and spread it more evenly. So it doesn't have to be one of these, could be a small softbox under here instead, but I've got one of these, so I'm going to use it. So I'm basically going to get this Pico box underneath my Chanel bottle, and I'm going to raise it up to make sure that it is filling the area that I need it to fill. There we go. On, off. So that's the illumination coming up through the Chanel bottle. And we're going to do a test now with the Pico box as well. So we should get some illumination coming in through the bottle. There we go. So it starts to get a much warmer, richer glow, which looks a little bit more interesting. The key thing is the brand. And at the moment, that Chanel bottle, the Chanel label, is not standing out. We're going to get a Pico light in on a boom arm. There I can see a patch of light, but I can't see clearly because of all this mess and flowers everywhere. Can you get me a piece of white paper off the table, please, Clarice? Yeah, that's all right. So I can just see how big this Pico light is, and I can also focus the light. So there you go, I can see it sharp now. And now you see I can start to change the shape of that rectangle to match the label size. What I want is a softer square, so I'm going to defocus the lens, and if you look at the square, you'll see it getting softer. So I'm just going to create a nice soft glow. That should be about the right spot. And now we've got the Pico light in as well. Let's see if the label gets lighter. There, okay, we can see clearly that label got a lot brighter, a lot more brightly lit. Now we're going to look at the light for the flowers. So I now need another Pico light. On this one, I'm going to use a snoot. And a snoot is a little bit different. It'll give a slightly bigger shape to the light. Let me just show you what's in here. So here is the snoot, and these are grids. And I'm putting these grids inside the light. So those are honeycomb grids, which tighten the beam up. I'm dropping those in. And then I'm also dropping in this circular mask, which tightens the beam up even more. So now you possibly see that it's a really tight area there. But you could use any snoot with a load of fine honeycomb grids to do a similar job. And now, with this light, that's the sort of patch of light that I'm getting. So that's what I'm getting out of it like this. I'm getting a soft, smallish patch of light. I'm just going to illuminate one patch of flowers from about there, and you can go for the shot. And let's have a look on screen. Now let's see how much light we get on one of those patch of flowers. There we go. So that's the one. Now that was a good guess because that exposure looks pretty good. Now you see the way I've lit that. I've grazed the light from a very low angle to create a harsh light source. So you can see with this, I'm shooting at a low angle. If I do this, then the light will be too flat from above. Take another shot. So let's compare this to the last one. So that's the one that I just did. Now look at the light on the flowers here. It doesn't have the same characteristics because it doesn't have the shadows. By going at a low grazing angle, I get those lovely shadows and lovely contrast. You can see the three-dimensionality of the petals. Going from above does nothing. Okay, so what are we going to do? Right, well, I hope you're enjoying this video. We've got some more great lighting tips and techniques coming up in this YouTube video. But if you'd like to get access to hundreds and hundreds of advanced lighting techniques, then why don't you check out visualeducation.com. It's the world's leading visual arts education platform. The video you're watching right now is just highlights from one of our many live shows. And during our live shows, our students can ask questions and interact so that they can further enhance their knowledge of lighting. Join us at visualeducation.com. Right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn the lights off in the studio so it's completely black. I'm going to lock the shutter open on the camera for about 20 seconds. This light, pop these back on a second. This light, and the light underneath are going to fire once. Okay, I only want those to fire once. We've already calculated that they're about right. This light needs to fire multiple times because I'm going to move around trying to illuminate the flowers in different patches as I go. We need this light to go on the infrared trigger only. So, or the radio trigger. So when the camera shutter opens, the trigger will trigger these three lights. That light, and that light will be triggered. But after that, the trigger won't be going off anymore, just the flash will be going off. So I've turned the slave cell off. So this pack and these lights will not be affected by the burst of light from this one going off multiple times. So we're going to have to darken the studio down now, guys. So I'm going to turn off all of the lights, and you guys might not be able to see anything at home. Turn those off as well. Now I can't see, I'm going to fall down the stairs. The overhead view is actually how dark the studio is right now, but the new Sony A7 video camera we've got there can see in the dark, so you're actually okay here. And I'm going to change the shutter speed right down to 20 seconds. There's 20 seconds. You go for it, Emma. Yes. 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 Wait. Yes. 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 Wait. Yes. 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 Okay, I think we'll do it. Stop there. Hopefully we're there within the 20 seconds. Good. Right. Let's see what we get. There we go. That's looking quite nice. See, I could do with a little bit more light down the bottom part. So we're going to do that one more time. Okay. When you're ready. Yes. 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 Wait. Yes. 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 Okay. Let's see what we get this time. Okay, so now I lit it too much at the bottom and not enough at the top. But what you can do with this technique is you can build this up in multiple layers. So you can expose the flowers over and over and over again, and as long as nothing moves, then you can stack these shots up in layers and you can pick which flowers are illuminated the best. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting out a piece of orange gel and I'm going to slip it under the bottle because I just want to see what it looks like if we get a little bit of orange light in the neck of the bottle. So I'm just going to change it back to a normal shutter speed. We were at 3/20th before. So we'll do a capture. And let's just see if we get any orange glow coming into, there you go. So we've got a little bit of an orange glow now in the top of the bottle. So you can compare that to there where it's white, and there we've got a little bit of gold glow. For the purposes of this demonstration, we've got a pretty good result out of camera, and you can see what was required. Okay, well, we're out of time on this live show, but I'm going to spend the next couple of hours playing around with the composition of the flowers, trying different lighting angles, and see what I can come up with. Thanks very much for watching.